All right, so I kind of wanted to talk about a topic that's close to me because I feel like most voters vote local.
Okay.
All right, and so it's kind of going to include some of the immigration, some of the tariffs. So I'm a rancher, and Trump is the best president that we've had in the last 70 years for ranchers. What do you have something to say to people like us who are excited about what Trump's doing with the tariffs? And
Ranchers that doesn't include like ordinary agriculture? Is that just animal ag or?
Yeah, specifically cattle. I mean, I'm not a farmer, so I can't speak to that, but I can speak to ranchers.
Sure, because I know he's been horrible for farmers in his first term and right now in this term. The soybean thing that just happened with Venezuela, I think, was
Well,
really
I mean,
bad.
part of that's also the overregulation with what they've done with alfalfa and they've done with grain. I mean,
No, it was
corn
due to
subsidies.
Trump's tariffs and horrible negotiation
Nah.
skills and getting outplayed completely by China. Yeah.
I mean, well, we can look with ranching due to gestation periods. We can see specifically that over the next 2 years, we're going to have a turn. We're going to go from being the lowest herds that we've ever had to actually starting to be able to grow again and be competitive in the market. And, all these policies that Trump's put forth have been very beneficial to us. The trade deal with the UK specifically being one, some of these other trade deals, cutting out other countries like Paraguay, which was opened up with Biden. I mean, why do y'all hate ranchers?
Why do I hate what?
Why does the left seem to hate ranchers?
Well, I don't know if the left hates the ranchers. Trump hasn't made any trade deals with any countries yet, so I don't know what trade deals you're referring to when you talk about the UK or anybody. All Trump has done is increase the tariffs to basically every country on the planet right now, so I don't know how that's helping.
Well, that's not true. The UK just agreed to get rid of restrictions and match USDA requirements regarding beef, and so they agreed to get rid of the restrictions on how much beef they've included. That's something I
They
know
might
for
have
a fact
agreed in
that's
a
happened.
speech, but there hasn't been any deal formalized yet. These are all skeletons of plans, and we're still waiting for something.
Well, I mean, that's
actually.
better than nothing. You just talked about how, with the border, right? You just talked about how, they just slapped a thing on there and then, we haven't finished the job. Well, at least we got something started. Before it was just continuous bleeding. Would you agree that getting some kind of start is better than no start at all?
No, because we're starting 1,000 feet behind the starting line because Trump started by tariffing the entire planet for no reason.
Yeah, because they've been taking advantage of the great United States.
They haven't been taking advantage of us.
Yeah,
Our economy is
absolutely.
destroying the rest of the world. We're the biggest economy on the planet.
Yeah, exactly. So they should be paying for access to that.
Part of the
exclusivity.
reason why we're the biggest economy on the planet is because they don't have to pay for access. We have open and free trade.
Yeah, but listen, everybody wants to be a Walmart. That's great and all, but eventually Walmart has to up its cost if there's no kind of, benefits to them making money. You know what I'm saying? It's
Part of the
capitalism.
reason why everybody wants to go to Walmart, though, is because everybody can go to Walmart. As soon as you start making it restrictive and you start putting tariffs and other people start counter-tariffing you, nobody wants to go to your place.
Yeah, but whenever you have to pay all these different things with Walmart specifically, right? There's a reason why Walmart's closed down in certain neighborhoods due to crime and theft because it becomes not profitable. Right now, we're running with the biggest deficit we've ever run, and it's time to make some changes. And specifically with ag and ranching, we're actually seeing benefits and changes that are benefiting ranchers, especially with the border control. It's helping to stop the screwworm infestation in Mexico from coming here. If that comes to Mexico, the beef industry collapses completely because of the small herds. I mean, why would we not want this kind of security? Why wouldn't we want these trade deals to benefit Americans?
We don't have any trade deals yet, so I can't really speak to...
What do you mean we don't have trade deals? They're announcing trade deals all the time. Stuff is finalized.
Yeah,
They're
and we're
starting the process.
always 2 weeks away from them.
Nah, that's convenient. I mean, it's not always 2 weeks away.
It is always 2 weeks away. That's why there's not a single trade deal. The UK trade deal is not done yet.
I'm specifically citing the UK. They've already come back and said we're relaxing restrictions on American beef. We're going to match American. That's a change. That's maybe it's not a formalized trade deal, but whenever it's accomplished a goal, that's basically essentially a trade deal in all but name.
Yeah, the name is important. That's why it's called a deal.
Yeah, but
if I were to tell you that I have a mortgage on my house, I'm good to go, I've got everything done except the bank just hasn't signed it yet. Well, that doesn't mean anything then, right?
Sure, but if I go buy a car cash, if I go in there and I'm like, hey, I want this jalopy, and they're like, hey, okay, cool, and I give them $2,000 or whatever, and they give me the car, and I don't have to sign anything except for the title. I mean, that's the same thing.
Yeah, but if they didn't give you the title, you wouldn't feel like you owned the car, right?
I mean, maybe, depends
You
on who
would
owns
give
the
them
cars.
all the cash, you'd drive out with the car, and you'd
but-
leave the title at the car dealership?
Yeah, but maybe if I get the car dealership, I mean, I would say if they're getting rid of the restrictions and I have the title, that's the same as the title. It's basically essentially the same.
Yeah, the reality of the situation is that Trump has just been horrible for trade in every respect. I don't know how anybody who likes free trade or thinks that trade is beneficial to the United States.
It's great to sit here and try to say, oh, we're pro-free trade, we're pro-capitalist, and that's you have this idea that all the people on the right are just these anarcho-capitalists, which isn't true. We want trade that's going to benefit us, and right now we've been taken advantage of, especially in the beef
Why do we
industry.
think we've been taken advantage of?
Well, because I know for a fact that the reason we're losing beef, we've had cattle herds go further down, is because other countries have taken over our market. Under the Biden administration, we've not been able to compete fairly at the international level. We have all sorts of border problems because we have all these different diseases come up into the cattle farm.
You think that beef failed under the Biden
and the corn
admin?
subsidies have been a problem.
How did Biden make beef fail in a way that Trump didn't didn't protect
Well,
them the
that's
first 4
easy.
years?
Well, one, Trump has already got rid of some of the subsidies, like the corn subsidies. He's cracked down on illegal immigration. So, if you know anything about ranching, then 97% of the United States ranches are family-owned. That's something that's very important to this. And when I look, there's a small percentage, maybe the top 5%, that have most of the base for this production. And those people are all treating unfairly by using illegal immigration labor. And then whenever they get busted, they just use, pay the fine and don't care. And with this bust, it's basically helped the mom and pop, which is 97% of the ranches, so about the 80% that's not these select 10%.
I don't understand. Wouldn't illegal immigrant labor help family farmers keep their costs more competitive so they'd make more money? Is that the whole reason they hire illegal immigrants?
No, because as a regular farmer, I can't go and afford, a regular rancher, I can't go and afford to pay the fine that a massive corporate-owned or family corporate-owned, basically, ranch can. They can just pay the fine, hire new immigrants. I can't do that. I have to go through the legal process. I have to hire legal people because they come and check us and come and get us if we do that.
Okay, but then all I'm saying is at the end of the day, this is going to end up raising your costs, so it feels like you're going to be less competitive in the global market anyway, no?
It's going to make it competitive costs. Like, if one person has an advantage the other has, that's not good at all. Isn't that what they all want to do with DEI? You want to get rid of a competitive advantage that a certain group has?
Okay, hold on. Just as a baseline, you acknowledge that like a tariff is a tax paid by an importer, right?
Yes, I understand that.
Okay, that a trade deficit doesn't mean that we're being taken advantage of by another country, right?
Sure, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's partially part of that, though.
Well, not how?
Because if you're sitting here having to compete in that unfair advantage, you're going to have to offset it in some way in the trade deficit and all sorts of other deficits.
Well, wait, why is it an unfair? Maybe we just have more money to spend.
What, do you have just more money to spend? I mean, let's go back to what I was just talking about, though, real quick. You just asked why it would be fair to, the regular guy versus the other. Okay, cool. If you can look at the tariff argument and say, okay, maybe these people pay more taxes, but if it eliminates the bigger net negative, which is like the illegal immigrants working for these ranches have a certain special advantage that most ranches don't have. Other countries taking advantages when it comes to production. Like, these are all benefits that we've gained since Trump has taken office that was on a steady decline under the last 3 or 4 presidents.
When you say other countries are taking advantage of us because they can sell us things for cheap, I think that's like a truism that's just given, but it doesn't really logically follow. Inflation is increasing again at a faster rate than it was before. Our trade deficit is exploding. Trump did absolutely nothing to bring it down. Now we're paying a whole new category of tax that we barely paid before, which is the tariffs. We're having to bail out our soybean farmers now because we just got cracked over the head with China and Venezuela. Like the idea that there's all this help coming through because he closed the border, although apparently 25 million illegals are already in here. I don't see where the help is.
I could give you an example, though, right? So this is kind of the bait and switch that the leftist seems to like to do, right? First of all, I go, tariffs are all bad. And then I want to bring up other things like the trade deals, and you'll say, they don't happen. But when I say, I go, hey, look, the UK is now matching American standards. It's a little bit of a bait and switch because you go, they haven't taken advantage of. Then I go and look at Europe, and I go look at Australia, and I go look at, the UK, and they have all these extra standards on beef that restricts us and doesn't allow us to sell over there in their markets. They're able to import over here, and we're not able to export there. That's an unfair advantage. You could say they're not reciprocal, but we don't even have an option to go in there and sell because they're sitting here excluding us. And they're like, maybe it's technically not a tariff, but the tariff is forcing them to react and change their policies at the local level, which benefits us here. So it's kind of like, it's not a direct one-to-one comparison. I'm sure
I think if I heard more conversation about these particular standards, maybe I'd be more amenable to it. But the problem is Trump speaks so broadly, and then conservatives never actually detail any of these things. It's okay for different markets to have different standards for different things. That's fine, right?
Sure.
What was the FDA? There was some drug that they didn't approve a long time ago that was approved in Europe. I wish I could remember the name of it, but women would take it when they were pregnant and their babies were coming out 7 arms or something. It was a bad drug that didn't get approved over here. It was approved in Europe, but there are different standards in different countries for different things sometimes. The idea that somebody might have a different standard for beef, and then so we can't export to that market as much, at least not all of our beef, I don't know if that's necessarily inherently exploitative. It can. There are some standards that are set up to be exploitative. But also, if Trump wanted to negotiate these, he said it himself, we have the largest, hottest economy in the world. Why would we have to start with a global tariff and then work from there?
It's because it's sending a message, and then these people come back and they make more fair deals. They get rid of the
They haven't made any deals yet, though.
They've made all sorts of deals.
We have
got
zero
deals with
deals.
Panama. We got deals with the UK.
We have zero deals.
What are you saying? We don't have zero deals when they've been announced? We've had their prime minister.
Yes, we've had announcements. He's talked. That's all Trump can do is talk. The deal we did have was the U.S. Mexico-Canada trade deal from Trump.
Sure.
He blew that up. So we have no deals.
Yeah,
negative deals.
So that's interesting you bring that up. Do you disagree that things change within a period of time? So I've heard people on the left, like yourself, sit here and advocate that this is just a massive failure that Trump came out here to. You just advocated earlier that, oh, hey, this guy, he's a politician. He's going to adjust to what the people want. Trump's a politician. He's saying, oh, this deal failed. Let's adjust. Let's get something new in there. Let's do something else. Now he's trying the stick instead of the carrot, and it seems to be working.
It's not working, though. Inflation is increasing. Our exports and import markets are hurt right now. The treasury yields are increasing. The world economy is losing faith in the United States. Like, basically every conceivable metric, we're worse off than we were before. The budget is out of control. The one big beautiful bill massively. Our government is being shut down again. Like, everything is failing. I don't know where all the success is coming from.
Well, I disagree. Like I said, I can point specifically to the beef industry as one of the industries that is growing. And this is kind of the misnomer I think y'all are talking about. We've been a service industry nation for a while now, and it looks like we're trying to move back to more of a manufacturing and production nation. And I think this is one of the major ones. If the beef industry fails, that's a national security crisis. Like, first thing that happens if you lose your food supply, and that's going to be a bad thing.
Cheeseburgers are the only food supply in the United States?
You act like that's funny. That's a good one, though. But here's the thing. Like, I used to be able to go get, a thing of fajitas, some skirt steak, a couple pounds of it, 99 cents a pound. Now it's $14 a pound, right? And, that's crazy, and it's bad. And that's due to exactly because the Biden-era policies under soy, the Biden-era policies under alfalfa, the Biden-era policies under corn, all these subsidies made people switch. And all of a sudden, now we didn't have feed, herds shrunk. We had these unfair deals with these other countries. And now, hey, if we have this screwworm infestation and have a porous border, which we know a porous border causes infestations of these screwworms and other kind of diseases into our beef market, if we don't have this secured, it's going to be bad. And under Biden, we didn't have any of that. And under Trump, we've secured it, just like the gentleman that just went before me said, and you've agreed. So, like, how can you say this is a net bad for some of these industries when we're in a transitionary period?
Well, if we're transitioning backwards, I guess it's a net good if we're trying to regress economically and security-wise. But, like, if you care about national security, Trump has been worse on national security in, like, almost every conceivable metric.
Wait, do you think going backwards into production and manufacturing is actually you think that's going backwards, I guess is what you're saying?
When people speak derogatorily about, like, service-type economies and then they want to step back into manufacturing, that's a regression.
See, I disagree. I hear a lot of people, I guess they want to go backwards to a time where they had more money in their pocket. Like, I hear all these people that were big union guys going, hey, I miss working at the factory, making $30 an hour. Why can't we get back to factories? I hear ranchers talk about, I remember in the 50s, which is crazy that they're talking about the 50s when they had larger herds, beef prices were way down. Even in the 90s, beef prices weren't as egregious as now, but they're still flying up, and it's because of all the bad lefty policies where they're overregulated.
But, like, in the 1500s, if you knew the Pythagorean theorem, you were the smartest guy in your math class. Like, times change. You can't just say
what
that
does that have to do with anything?
Because going backwards to a manufacturing economy, that might have been good 50 to 100 years ago when the entire world was doing, like, manufacturing and was working that way. But you can't, like, no economy, you can't give me a single example of an economy anywhere on the planet that regressed ludicrous. Economically.
That's ludicrous to argue that you were the smartest person in the room just because you knew the Pythagorean theorem has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now, which is
what is an economy that's going backwards from service to manufacturing? Like, who are you jealous of economically? Who do you think does better than the United States economically?
We could be doing better. China's exploding at one of the quickest rates. They're doing a lot of manufacturing. We're seeing all these other countries.
What is China trying to expand the most into, though? What does Trump complain? They steal our intellectual property. They have things like TikTok. They're expanding in green energy. They're expanding their relations with every other country on the planet. They're expanding, like, all of their tech industry. They're not trying to do more manufacturing. They're trying to do more service.
Do you think tech is only service, producing tech? Right now we can't even make missiles. We can't even make phones. We're running out of the supplies to sit here and get the rare earth minerals.
We can't make missiles?
Yeah, we don't have the tech.
We literally bombed Iranian nuclear plants, and they didn't even know about it until Trump went on the media and made an announcement about it.
We already had those.
So we can bomb things. I think we're doing okay there.
You disagree with the Biden administration, the reason why they put forth the CHIPS Act in the first place then?
I think the CHIPS Act is fine. I think there are certain things that we can incentivize here.
Oh, so then you are pro-manufacturing then?
I never said I was anti-manufacturing. What I took issue with was you attacking service.
Okay. Listen here. We saw COVID. It became the gig economy. It became just service economy. That's bad. I don't know anybody that can sit here and just make a living wage off of just working Uber or Uber Eats or DoorDash or anything. Nobody can live like that. They have to do this. They have to work the regular job and they have to work one of these in the side jobs to sit here and get by. If we could return to manufacturing, people can work their 9 to 5s, 40 hours a week, and get back to only having to work 40 hours a week.
You acknowledge that those jobs are never coming back like that, right? Like, every time you say that, you're selling a lie to people. That will never, ever be the case that you can put a door on a car and make a living wage doing that. That will never be the case again in any part of the world.
How are you intending that we're going to automate, say, something like ranching? There's no way you can automate ranching. What are they going to have?
Farming uses more, like, automation and advanced machinery. Like, do you think that people that do agriculture, like, go out with their scythes and chop the crops?
No, I think as somebody that's done agriculture my entire life, I feel like I have a pretty good idea. I don't think there's any robot that can go out there and kill snakes currently that keep my cattle from being poisoned. I don't think there's a robot right now now that can go kill a mountain lion or a coyote that's eating a calf. No, I don't think there's going to be a robot that can build my fence for me currently. No, I'm sorry, there's just no way you can sit here and automate that. Maybe at a feedlot, but that's the second tier part of the production when it comes to ranching.
So I can understand it. You're saying that the process of building a fence today is the same as it was 50 years ago?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's not my experience on any of this, but okay.
I mean, the only difference is maybe we have a post hole digger so we can do it faster. I mean, even then, that's still something that's been around 30 years.
Okay, when it comes to manufacturing things, there's never going to be a world where we have like the old like the Detroits, like the car manufacturing plants, where like an ordinary person can do kind of like.
What about aerospace? What about just like we were talking about chips manufacturing?
Even aerospace. I mean, look, you're not. These are all like robot automated jobs.
Shipbuilding. That's another one we need. China's outbeating us in shipbuilding. There's all these different industries that are definitely going to be having to be built here if we build the tariffs, and it is transitory. And
you think that we're going to go back to a world where you've got people that are manually putting these things together and making a living wage doing it? We're going to be competitive with the rest of the world on this?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think we're going to be able to be more competitive because lately with the service economy, what do we make? We make nothing. And when you make nothing, you're worth nothing.
What do you mean by you make nothing?
I mean, if you're just a service industry, if you're only able to sit here, say you're a waiter at a restaurant, right? That's service industry. You would agree with that?
Yeah, but
okay.
like people also consider like programmers like service. I mean,
sure. Yeah, there's going to be a lot. Let's say you're a waiter at a restaurant, for example, right? The only way you have to sit here and serve that burger, that $8 burger you were talking about, is if someone's able to make the beef, to get the beef there, and then they produce it, they like manufacture it, they feed it, all this good stuff, butcher it. You have to have all these different lines in the line of production in order for the service industry to work. And what you're proposing is, let's just kill the beef industry. We don't need that going forward. We're going to sit here and just import this beef, and then, if we ever have any kind of trade problems with these people and they cut it off, suddenly now the service worker's out of job because they can't get beef for their
So do you think like Microsoft is like a nothing company?
I mean, you think Microsoft is a service company or do you think they're a production company? Because they're both.
What do you mean by, what do you consider production?
I mean, they're building computers. Do you think they're building computers? They build software.
Does Microsoft build computers?
I mean, they used to. I mean, I'm not sure if they do.
They have Azure. They're like servers and stuff that you can rent space out of, but this is all like service electronic stuff, and they do like software, or like Amazon, AWS is all like software. Like, do you think it's like fake stuff?
I mean, I guess software would be service, but I mean, just because you have that doesn't mean you don't need HP building it, or like Texas Instruments building TI-83s, or Texas Instruments building computers, or all sorts of companies.
Like, is there an example of any other country on the planet that has gone back to, or whose economy that you think we should emulate, who's doing better than us, who does less service and more manufacturing?
Why would we want to emulate another country when we're the world leaders? I feel like we should lead the way and go back to manufacturing.
Do you see what you just said? We should lead the way and go back?
Yeah,
like,
exactly,
that
because what's going on right now is not working.
What was going on was we were dominating the entire world economy. We came out of COVID stronger and better than every other economy on the planet.
Since
what do you mean? Since when?
I mean, it's arguably the whole reason why I think Mr. Pangburn over here brought up Hassan earlier as a joke. I mean, Hassan's always talked about multipolarity. I mean, if anything, the multipolarity people are getting stronger because we're sitting here not doing manufacturing. We're the weakest we've been in 200 years almost.
Our manufacturing has increased. The output of manufacturing in the U.S. has increased, like, pretty solidly.
In what industries? Like a few, like, specific ones? Well, major industries have, like,
I mean, we probably don't manufacture the same things anymore, but we do, like, end-stage manufacturing better than most other countries on the planet. But we'd rather be making, like, the widget monster than making the widgets.
Well, you yourself just brought up at the beginning of this conversation the soy industry, right? The soy, how it got devastated by some of Trump's policies, okay? And then how there's having all these problems. Well, that's manufacturing that's gone backwards. You didn't seem to have a problem when something like soy was doing well, but now that ranching's doing well, now it's a problem.
Why would it be a problem if they're doing well? My issue is that conservatives, for some reason, you guys view everything on the planet as like some zero-sum game where the only way to make gains is to destroy some other part of the economy or to destroy some other part of the world in order to have some piece of the pie for themselves. But like you can talk about these things like manufacturing is being destroyed. Why did Elon Musk start Tesla and start SpaceX? Why did he start that in the United States if our manufacturing is so horrible? Well, and when he did start that in the U.S., it's not like did he put together a whole bunch of blue-collar workers in the Uber factories to build the rockets and the cars?
I can't speak to Elon Musk and why he wants to be a patriot and build jobs here in America or return us to space. I don't know all that, but I'll tell you this. When I'm sitting here seeing people sit here and complain about, the soy industry collapsing, or I'm seeing other industries popped up, like the corn industry propped up by subsidies, while, the beef industry languishes and rots on the vine, I sit here and go back to what I said in the beginning. I think it's not that Republicans think it's a zero-sum game. I think it's that we sit here and look and we go, we vote local, right? And whenever I'm having my fences damaged by coyotes coming across, bringing people illegally, or I'm having people sit here getting unfair advantages because they can pay to have illegal workers to pay the fine, hire new people, and then I'm having things like the other countries sit here have unfair regulations that we can't compete with while we have tariffs on our beef or numbers. I think it's pretty clear that the left, for the last 20 years at least, hasn't cared about people like me. And so when I go and vote, I don't know, it's kind of like a big FU all of a sudden when we're doing good and everybody else is like, oh no, it's so bad. And it's like,
I mean, you can say that, but like the reality is on every single issue you listed, Trump has failed, will continue to fail, and by the end of his term will have failed on every single one of those issues. Costs are increasing for everything. Tariffs are hurting every single consumer, disproportionately middle class and worse. The budget is spiraling.
High.
What?
Stock market's at an all-time high. It's hitting record highs.
I'm sorry, stock market? What happened to voting local? Do you think the stock market represents the average person?
Local. Beef prices, like I said,
stock markets were at all-time high under Biden. Would you say that Biden had a great economy?
Yeah, the highest under Biden is like the highest under Biden is the lowest it's been under Trump. So I guess you're giving
welcome
credit
to the stock market. It goes up.
Yeah, I mean, no, it doesn't. What do you mean? We have crashes all the time.
Yeah, and then it goes up. The last 3 or 4 years of Obama's presidency was all-time highs before Trump came in, and then Trump was all-time highs, and then COVID happened, and then Biden was all-time highs. And guess what? By the end of Trump's term, it'll be all-time highs. And guess what? After the next president, it'll also be all-time highs. That's how the stock market works.
Yeah, but whenever we talk about inflation, we can go and look at like average costs going in there, right? Like right now with beef, like I said, it's going to take 2 years for things to like level out and the cost to be passed on to consumers and it go down. But if we continue under the same policies, when the beef prices are just going to keep flying up, soon it's going to be $30 for your $8 burger at the rate it's going. We're at an all-time high for beef prices. Yeah, it's great for a seller's market, but it's really bad for everybody else. And so when I'm sitting here looking at what you're saying, gas right now where I'm at, it's like $2.30, right? I'm sure it's higher in some places like California. Why don't we look at where it's higher and where it's lower? And it's clear that the places with more regulation are way, way higher. So
at the end of Trump's term, when inflation is higher than it should be, when costs are higher than they should be, are we still going to blame Biden for that? Because inflation is higher now. It's coming higher and higher and hotter than it should have been. The Fed is going to have to. Unfortunately, they're going to have to lower rates now because inflation is not only is inflation increasing, unemployment is increasing too. Like on every economic indicator we have, every market indicator we have is looking worse and worse.
Hold on, you're sitting there saying unemployment is up. Yeah, well, cool. That's great and all, maybe, but it's more also at the same. When I look at this, I heard, unemployment's great for all these people, and then you find out, they included all these people that worked like 18 hours a week as employed and whatnot. Like that's ridiculous. That's not employment.
Well, that's not how unemployment is calculated.
Yeah, it was under one of the things.
No, it wasn't.
That's why under the Biden they keep having to revise the job reports. We figured out they're lying. And there's just no trust from the left right now. Y'all lied about his health. Y'all lied about jobs reports repeatedly. We know for a fact
there's no trust from the left because Trump himself will openly lie about everything.
But this is something I can look like. I'm not even a super huge pro-MAGA guy. I'm like a Texas Republican. We don't trust big government. And then when I sit here and I look and I sit here and you go, oh yeah, Trump's lied about everything. And I see the stuff he's done. And then I go, oh, it's the highest jobs they've ever been. And then I go, oh, okay, well look, let's see. Why did they just sit here and cut out 100,000 jobs from the last Biden report? Or why'd they cut 300,000? And every time the Biden jobs report came out, it was cut under Trump. We haven't seen those things. We've seen very small corrections, if at all. And so it looks like, yeah, maybe it's slower, but it's also not inflated fake numbers the way that you're sitting here pertaining, putting out there.
So you believe the numbers under Trump, but you don't believe the numbers under Biden?
I'm just saying if they're from the same agencies,
you believe the numbers under Trump, but you don't believe the numbers under Biden?
No, what I'm saying, well, hold on. The Biden numbers under Biden that I'm quoting are the same numbers that came out. First, he put one out for the jobs report, and then several times, each time under Biden, those jobs reports got revised. Do you disagree with that?
Yeah, job report revisions are pretty common. Yeah, they happen.
Okay, yeah, and when they're substantial, and you go all the whole time, hey, buddy, this is the highest jobs we've ever had, and then 3 months later, the revision comes out, and it's 1 million people lower or 300,000 lower. And it's not the highest. Well, that's a lie. Would you agree? You just said it's exaggerating. It's a lie.
So I don't think the revisions were as drastic under Biden. I think one of the reasons for a lot of the revisions under Trump is because Trump has done a lot of self-inflicted harm on the economy that nobody was expecting and the markets have had to adjust for. For instance, the global tariffs that were completely brainless that have done nothing but damage to the United States economy and reputation abroad.
So wait, just to be clear, you're saying that exaggerating the numbers under Biden is different than Trump exaggerating, saying...
I don't think they're exaggerating. When they do the prospective job numbers, they collect it from the census and then they get the later report.
Yeah,
I know, learning about how the data works is frustrating. That's why Trump wants to fire guys and put in guys to give him the answer that he wants.
It is frustrating. Whenever you're the average American, I run several businesses. It's not very hard for me to sit here and go, oh, I did this. If I go to my investors and I tell them, hey, guess what? Our numbers are actually, 300% lower than what I actually told you in, 3 months ago. Yeah, that's going to be outrageous. Or at least, we made $300,000 less this month than we actually told you we made. But now that we've done revisions, they're going to go, that's a lie, and they're going to want to pull funds. So whenever you're sitting here going, oh, it's not the same. It's frustrating how numbers work. Yeah, it is frustrating to the average Americans who are wise to this game now. I just don't understand how you could sit here and say it's not an exaggeration or whenever that's exactly
Because
what's happening.
they do revisions because the first numbers they get are different than after they verify them on the second batch. Like you can, I think they're pulled from different. I think one comes from some census-related thing, the other comes from some like final jobs reports-related thing from companies. I don't know exactly how they calculate it, but there are always adjustments. There have always been revisions.
Yeah, sure, but and that's a lie, especially when you sit here and you run on, we have the best jobs ever, and then you're going to sit here running the Trump presidency.
Because under Biden, the job economy was very hot, yes.
No, fake news. And when we sit here, and I want to talk about what you just said. You sat here and said, hey, we're going to sit here and get, the inflation rate, if it's the highest it's ever been. Well, I can't remember a government in recent memory that didn't have inflation rates go up. But if he slows the inflation rate, and it looks like it is drastically slowing.
It's not slowing.
It's
It's beating now. I think 2.9 was what it came in under, and it was supposed to be like 2.4, so it's increasing, which we would expect as the tariffs are increasing everything.
I don't know. I'm seeing 2.4 from multiple sources regularly right now. That's what they're estimating they're going to be at the end of the year. So, I don't know. I guess we have different sources on that one. But if there are 2.4 and it did slow the growth, then hell yeah, that's exactly what we want, isn't it?
I mean, if the inflation is coming in hotter than we would expect it to, and it's coming in hotter for literally no reason besides the fact that Trump is adding costs to everything by tariffing the entire world for no reason, I think, no, that's not what we want. We had an economic contraction for quarter one for absolutely no reason.
2.9% is bad. Whenever Biden came in, we had a 25% to 50% increase almost inflation.
Where was the Biden inflation from?
What was the Biden inflation from?
Yeah.
It's terrible mismanagement, all these different industries.
What was the Biden inflation from?
Are you going to blame COVID? Is that what you're about to try to blame?
Don't we blame COVID for Trump's disastrous fourth year? Does it only work for Trump?
I mean, I'm not sitting here. I'm making claims based off what I'm seeing.
Wait, where do you think the majority of the inflation happened due to under Biden's administration?
Yeah, I would argue that, all the extra checks got sent out. I didn't even like it when Trump sent out checks. But whenever they're sending out all these checks, yeah, that's going to drastically inflate things. Whenever you have people sending out, all these different checks going out and no one has to work and you can just go spend money like play money, of course the prices inflation is going to go up. Do you disagree?
So we had COVID was a huge thing, right? Mm-hmm. We had to do some kind of stimulus for the economy. And then we also had the Ukraine war breakout, which did a lot for shipping and prices of stuff globally as well for a bit, right? So he had to deal with those two things. For the most part, by the end of his term, inflation was, I think it was sub 3 points. When Trump came in, everything was running fine. We had an economic contraction in quarter one for no reason. And now we've had inflation starting to tick upwards again for no reason.
If we look historically throughout history at all the different countries, every time we've had like a giant inflation increase, look at like 1920s Germany, right? Or even Venezuela now, what do? They do stimulus packages and they kept sending out tons of extra cash, all these stimulus bonuses, all this money, and they flood the market. And all of a sudden, about a year later, 6 months later, suddenly that money's not worth anything because inflation's through the roof. That's exactly what happened under Biden. And,
really? Under Biden, the USD wasn't worth anything?
Yeah, it's gone way down. Are you disagreeing that the U.S. dollar?
The only thing that was damaging faith in the U.S. dollar was Trump's crazy tariff plan.
No, that's not true.
The
U.S. dollar has been on the decline for like 15, 20 years.
Absolutely not. You can see USD to euro comparison. Like Trump has been destroying the USD with his insane.
That's not true at all. I just don't know where you're getting
your information. You can look at the treasury yields increasing because other people, Japan and Canada, were possibly looking at offloading U.S. treasuries. You can look at the fact that you want to talk about a deficit or increasing U.S. dollars again. Trump's first term, all he did were tax cuts. He didn't pair it with any spending cuts. Massive deficits. Look at the one big beautiful bill. Massive deficits. All Trump does is print money like crazy. For no reason too. He did it for no reason. There's no crisis right now for these 4 years.
No, I disagree. I think the economy is in a great shape and getting better, especially when I look at things like luxury goods.
So do you support deficit spending?
Do I support what?
Do you support massive deficit spending to increase the economy?
It depends, not generally.
It depends on what? If it's a Republican or a Democrat in office?
I mean, sure, I guess, but not really. No, it depends on it. Like, for example, I'll give you one that I'm not a huge fan of. I don't like Trump's gun laws as a Texan, right? So I'm not just to sit here die hard. I'm going to die on the hill. I think the big beautiful bill. I'm sure that's what you want to be referring to. I think that was too much. I'm not a huge fan of that. So no, I'm not going to sit here and die on that hill for some of these things. However, I do think whenever he's sitting here and he's accomplishing things in multiple industries that are improving things for us, I think maybe we should give him a chance. We've done things one way for the last, 16 of the last 20 years, have been done one way. And now, we're getting a change and it's benefiting some people that haven't been benefiting for a while. And all of a sudden, that's a problem. And that's kind of what I keep coming back to you. You're saying it's a zero-sum game on our side. When I'm saying it looks like it's a zero-sum game on your side because y'all hate seeing anybody else win.
When you say try something different over the past 20, 30 years, what I've seen is Republicans destroying the economy, Democrats coming in and having to try to rebuild, and then Republicans coming in and trying to...
Wait, well, how come did the general public, whenever time they're polled, say they trust the Republicans more with the economy than Democrats?
Because the general republic is...
so we're just better at marketing in that case?
Yeah, conservatives, all they do is market. Like when they've invested...
So, all they do is market, then that's me who are in charge of the economy.
What did Obama come in after? He came in after the 2007-2008 housing crisis. Was that the Democrats' fault? No, that was a deregulation thing. That was a repeal of Glass-Steagall. That was a repeal of all the mortgage regulations. That was a Republican-run drive-up, right? Where did all the massive spending come from under Bush? It was for foreign wars. What did Biden come in under? He came under the horrible COVID mismanagement, Trump having no leadership or guidance over the country.
I mean, Bush had his own economic win before the housing crisis. He was doing good. We could bash the wars, but, military-industrial complex spending was up, stock was through the roof, oil production was up. There was benefits there in some of those regards. But, the housing bubble, that wasn't good. I didn't like that. The banking crisis under Obama, that also wasn't good. I feel like these are massive crises.
The banking crisis under Obama?
Yeah.
You mean under Bush?
No, the banking crisis underneath it. Wasn't it Bush?
The bailouts, that was because of the mortgage
I didn't like that
stuff
either one. Bush was bad.
But these were Republican-led disasters that a Democrat has to come in and clean up under and then still get the economy moving again. Biden had to do it again after Trump, and now we're going to have to do it again after this Trump.
You keep saying get the economy moving again when it's like a clear that some people are getting left in the dust. There's a reason why, for example, and I keep coming back to beef, is so high right now, and it's because of the Democrat policies like grain and corn subsidies, where it switched people going away from the stuff that would generally go to beef. All of a sudden now you don't have the feed supply, and the only people that can survive are people like myself who are grass-fed ranchers, and all of a sudden you just take out a huge swath of an industry that was already hurting. And I can look at other industries like this, and it's just like, oh, well, hey, at least soy is good right now. What? Come on, man. That's not.
I think that animal agriculture exports are going to be down by the end of Trump's 4 years. I think that the access to other markets is poor. I think that the reciprocated tariffs now, the real ones, not the fake ones that Trump said were there before, are hurting exporters all across the United States. I think the weakening of our dollar is going to end up I think there's going to be a lot of things that are going to hurt our ability to export to other markets.
Well, you look at China. Do you think that would you call what we've done with China a general tariff, or would you call that a reciprocal? Whenever they came in at one rate and then we came back in at one rate, and then all of a sudden they lowered it, we lowered it, we're still 15% higher, and they agreed to it. Would you not agree that that's a win in our book? I mean, just look at how much money the
everything about Trump's trade has been a loss so far. Everybody agrees. Everybody, his whole administration realizes it. He realizes
partially due to the tariffs. We've actually, what was it, the last 2 months have reported a surplus specifically due to the tariffs. I mean, do you not agree that's a good thing? Aren't happy that the government's getting a surplus?
You're saying that it's a good thing that we've taxed Americans more on imports?
We're not taxing Americans. We're taxing the overseas people.
I thought we agreed earlier that a tariff is an import tax.
Yeah, and we're incentivizing production here at home. Instead of having to import foreign
When Donald Trump said he could shoot somebody on 5th Street or whatever, and his audience will support him, I maybe would have believed that. If Donald Trump would have said, I could find a way to tax working and middle-class Americans more, and they'll believe me and they'll champion it, I would have never believed that. I can't believe people are defending the concept of raising money via what is honestly like a Democrat dream of having like a type of like an import tax, right? Like, oh my God, we're going to tariff everybody and make all sorts of money this way. It's not even that big of a dollar amount that he's raising compared to all the other money he's lost via the insane tax cuts on the one big beautiful bill. So it's not even a wash with all of his other horrible fiscal policies.
Do you disagree that by taxing foreign products such as foreign beef or foreign manufactured goods, whatever those may be, that it's not going to incentivize people to buy those goods locally, as opposed because you're saying, oh, it's a tax. Well, let's get incentivize local people to build and produce and expand their operations, and that's going to allow them to have more production here. So it
incentivizes local production, but at the cost of local consumers. It means that you're also going to have
in the short term. In the long term, it's going to be better off because
why would you assume that in the long term we can outcompete every single economy in the world on every single type of good?
Does it cost money to ship stuff from one country to another? Yeah, absolutely. If we cut that out because it's produced right here in America, of course the costs are going to go down.
So you think in the U.S. we can outcompete every single country on the planet on every single good?
I mean, it depends. Probably, yeah. I trust in America's production capability.
I don't even know what to say.
You were just saying we lead the way in technology.
Nobody believes that. That's impossible, and it won't happen. It won't happen.
So what is it? What is it? Is it that we're the leaders in technology and all this service stuff, we can be the leaders in production, and we can actually lead the world in this? And we are the current leaders, or are you saying no, that we're not actually the leaders that you're saying we're number one in?
No, we are the leaders when it comes to end stage assembly and technology and service and software. This is the stuff that we lead the world in. These are the envies of the world when it comes to production.
Well, so look at H-E-B, and we mentioned Walmart earlier. Why is H-E-B the fastest growing grocer in the United States? Well, the reason why is because they have taken every step out of the way. They own their cod farms out in Alaska. They own their lobster farms in Maine. They own their beef production facilities here in the United States. They sit here and they work when they go overseas for coffee. They own the coffee production, right? It's all built within their system, and they are eliminating the middlemen, and that's led to lower costs, even despite the tariffs, because guess what? They're an American company producing the goods here. I can point to numerous examples of this, That's what the Walmart model was. That, and I'm sitting here looking at this and I say, oh, you're saying this can't happen. And I'm saying I see businesses internalizing and excluding the overseas people all the time and benefiting. And you're saying, no, that can't happen. Well, why is it already happening then?
It's not happening to a large extent. There is a reason why
the fastest growing grocer in the United States isn't at a quick percent isn't a good example. What do you mean?
Do you think that the whole world is looking at Taiwan because Taiwan makes like the best car doors?
No, it's because they make the chips. But why, if we sit here,
which is an end stage advanced? It's not because they're mining silicon. It's not because they're out in the coal mines. It's not because
how big is Taiwan?
Pretty small.
Small, right? Like, okay, so I said I'm from Texas, right? Imagine if we just took all the counties that were the same size as Taiwan and we started building facilities there, which they're already doing. Like, I don't see how we can't produce these in-game things like you're saying, as well as
because we don't want to build that. We want to do steel.
What, steel? I mean, sure, American steel is better than Chinese steel. Like,
if it's so much better, then why do Americans buy Chinese steel?
Well, if we put the tariffs on them, we could build it at a cheaper rate and faster here.
It won't happen. I don't know what to say.
You're just saying it won't happen, and I'm giving you examples of when it is happening, like HEB.
We don't have the people. We don't have the physical.
We don't have the people. What do you mean? Aren't you y'all the ones sitting here saying, oh, hey, we need all these illegal aliens for all these jobs because the Americans won't do them. I'm seeing poultry farms, like butchering facilities. They're hiring Americans now after they've cleared out all these illegals. So it looks like we do have the people, and it's just kind of like inconvenient truth to you.
I don't know how to. There's like, if I were to ask you for an example, you wouldn't be able to give me a single one. If I were to ask you for there's just no world where we can outcompete the entire world on everything.
Yeah, I could give you
no
an example.
economy does it.
I can give you an example right now. C&J Farms in Texas once again.
That's not a country.
Oh, a country. Oh, now we got to change it from like companies to
I'm
countries.
asking about a country that tries to do everything. Some economies, like in some ways, Germany has issues getting trapped in like a manufacturing country where they can't make.
Of like Oklahoma. So that's a bad example.
I'm just saying that you can't make everything. There's a concept called comparative advantages. Some people do some things better than other people. Some economies are geared more towards the production of certain goods or services than other economies. If our unemployment is sub 5% and Donald Trump is obsessed with kicking a whole bunch of people out of the country, where are we expecting to invent all these people to take place of all these other things that we're importing from other countries? We just don't have the people for it.
Hold on, if we have a massive unemployment rate, then why
we don't have a massive unemployment rate?
Yeah, it seems like we have a lot of people unemployed or working on the gig economy, having to work 2 part-time jobs.
I don't know what it seems like is. I can't talk about it seems like. I can only go by the official reported numbers.
Listen, it's pretty simple. When we go and look, we do have. You were just saying unemployment is climbing. If we're getting rid of illegal aliens, like Trump is trying to do, or stopping the flow of immigration, why wouldn't these people suddenly that are here not be getting hired? I mean, it seems like a no-brainer that you're going to hire here if you can't hire from overseas.
When I say unemployment is climbing, I mean it's getting like back up to, and then it's going to go north of 5%. Not we're at 30%, so we can open every single new shop in the United States that we were importing from every other country.
I mean, hold on. Are you saying all these people that are sitting here working on welfare, living on welfare, they're sitting here?
I don't think there are that many people that are sitting here on welfare not working.
What? There's all sorts of people working on welfare that don't have full-time jobs. Unemployment, there's they get unemployment and whatnot. They don't go work. You literally have to go in there and just show that you applied for jobs just to get it. I remember when I was at college, I knew tons of friends sitting here living basically off unemployment, and they would just extend it for 6 months, and then they would go and get a job for like 1 or 2 months, and then they would do it again. Like, you can't tell me this isn't happening when I've seen it regularly my whole life. Like, I know tons of people. Like, I grew up poor. Like, I saw this. This is what happens. And then when you're sitting here going, oh, it's not happening, it's not believable.
I can't speak to what you see. I live in Miami Beach. I see a bunch of people in swimsuits all the time, and I'm not going to go to Alaska and expect to see the same thing. It doesn't make any. I'm just saying that in 1 year, what are you looking for to see if everything is going as you would hope it's going in 1 year?
I'm looking at traceable data, and this is why I brought up I came in here specifically talking about the beef industry. It's something I'm familiar with the data, right? When you're sitting here going, no. So
I'm just asking you. Don't worry about what I'm saying. I'm just asking you in 1 year. So like, if the export total of beef has decreased, would you consider that a Trump failure, or are we just not adjusted yet?
Say that again?
If our total animal agriculture exports have decreased, would you consider that like a failure, or?
Well, they are going to decrease over the next 2 years due to gestation rates, but then they're definitely going to be primed to increase due to how the cattle production.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
So cows, it takes about 2 years to get them from pre-production to the feeding lots and feed facilities before they can even be processed. So right now, based off with cattle, it's a really easy one to track. I could sit here and track based off where cows are in their production cycle nationwide. I could tell you within their reproduction cycle at what exact year.
Wait, you're telling me that in cow manufacturing, they don't stagger the gestation? All of them gestated the same cycle?
No, that's not what I'm saying. They do stagger it, so I can tell you exactly how long it's going to take based off economic indicators. And that's why I'm saying within 3 years, we're going to see our first growths in herds since the 1950s. So when I'm sitting here saying, oh, hey, I've seen exact production, exact changes that are benefiting Americans, like with ranching, I can sit here and point to an exact data point. And this is why when you're sitting here saying, oh, the stats for this, and I'm arguing over the stats, and we're sitting here arguing over definitions, or we're arguing over hey, how much unemployment is, I go, hey, well, there's good liars, bad liars, and statistics. That's kind of what you're doing right here. And I think it's kind of like not really being honest whenever I can look at something like ranching and I can point to an exact data set that's going to change based off established principles and established economic conditions. And with cattle, for example, I know exactly it's going to take 3 years based off of the changes that have happened in the 6 months. And it's very simple. And so there's not going to be a change unless something crazy happens that'll,
Okay. I guess we'll see where we're at in a year, but I mean, right now, for CPI and stuff, the cost of a basket of goods, everything has gone up except eggs that came down because of the whatever egg price having. But everything else has gone up in terms of average costs. Housing prices are still going up, cost of education is still going up. Now we're paying import taxes on everything we get from other countries. Maybe in a year, the cow gestation will save us because of all the beef agriculture, maybe. But it just looks like every indicator right now is bad. We're always 2 weeks away from any actual trade deal from other countries, even though we keep saying things. And now we're having to spend a bunch of money on soybean farmers because Venezuela and China are screwing us because we don't know how to manage any of our trade policy.
Let me just ask you this, because you keep saying we're 2 weeks away from trade. If, say, no trade deal signed, but they suddenly match our standards, is that not a net benefit?
It should be enunciated in a trade deal. I don't know if I would consider that a benefit because it could change at any time.
Okay, so wait, hold on. Every country has the right to govern themselves, right?
Kind of. It depends on what you mean by that.
So, whoever's in charge of the country, whether it's a dictator, whether it's a democracy, whether it's a republic, whether it's whatever, somebody have a governing body that makes the rules, right?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, okay. And so then, if they have a governing body that makes the rules, they can change those rules at any given time, correct?
No, that's not how that works.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, because
wait,
just here in the United States...
Are you a free person who can do what they want with their time, assuming you're not breaking the law?
Sure, but
You can say that, but what if we sign a contract? That's why you have contracts, is so that you can hold people to deals so that they're enforcing them in the future. I wouldn't want to be on a friend deal with a country for something as important as trade, because you yourself said it, a lot of these industries have to ramp up and ramp down.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're in business, then you know there's such a thing as a good faith gesture, right? If I'm going into business with somebody for credit card processing, right? And I go in there and I'm like, hey, I'm going to give you the, POS machine for free, and and you're going to sit here and you're going to get this rate, and I give you the POS system, and I give you a trial period before you have to sign it, you would agree that's indicating that you're going to be going along with the deals that we're going to be making, correct?
You would never sign a contract on or you would never operate on good faith like that. I think you would always want something in writing.
But this is
but
international
also, America has
diplomacy,
no more
though.
good faith.
This is different.
Well, no, if you want to talk about diplomacy, America's lost all good faith with the tariff war. We destroyed that.
No. These countries have been taking advantage for a while.
They haven't been taking advantage of us.
Yes, they are. You're sitting here, we're acting they absolutely have. Whenever they have standards that exclude us from a market, how do you think that's not taking advantage of us?
I thought you just said countries have the right to regulate their own country
Well,
and
that's my
decide
point.
what they want to import or export.
You're sitting here saying that, oh, hey, there have to be a contract. At least when I see somebody put in their office in another country and they're sitting here trying to make strides and change regulations at the local level.
If you think that there are unfair things like that, why didn't Trump just go out and negotiate that?
I mean, that's what he's doing.
No, that's not what he's doing. He tariffed
how long do you think a deal takes to make? They take months.
Apparently, a lot longer than Trump thought, because he said we'd have 100 deals in 100 days, and so far we have 0.
I mean, it seems like a lot of these people have been coming and dealing with him. To me, I don't know.
Doesn't seem like that to me. Again, we're past 100 days, and we have 0 deals. Where are all of the trade deals? They're nowhere.
They're all over the place.
They're
we got
nowhere.
Panama, we got the UK, we got the EU deal.
They're not materialized yet. We have to mute. We got
the tariffs. China are higher than they've ever been, while theirs are equal to what they were before.
They're not equal to what they were before.
We have a surplus from the tariffs as well.
We don't have a surplus. We're still in a massive economic deficit.
Just checking in, guys.
Yeah,
we have about 5 minutes left there, Mr. Beef. Gibbs.
Hey, there you go.
Sorry, I had to. Is there anything you wanted to touch on with Destiny for maybe 5 more minutes?
No, I did want to say I thought this was kind of interesting. Y'all were just talking about the political violence thing, and I was making sure I brought my helmet and checked out upstairs before I came out here. But I think that I'm glad you said that. Honestly, I think that it has motivated people on the conservative side to go out and talk, and I encourage you to do more of these debates. I will give you much credit for going and talking to people, because I know that it's a lot of people will just comment and they don't want to put their money where their mouth is. I mean, do you think that the heightened environment overall is going to be something that continues, or do you think that these recent like violent activities are going to like be a shock thing that are going to make people go away.
I think it'll continue until President Trump tells everybody to calm down.
Do you think that people will like even listen to him? I mean, I don't.
He got everybody to ignore the Epstein files. I think he'll get everybody to tone the violence down if he wanted to, yeah. But I think he likes it. I think the conservatives kind of enjoy the environment.
They enjoy them. I mean, I don't think so. Every time I've ever heard someone do something on the like conservative side, say a conservative guy kills somebody, everybody on the conservative side, yeah, that was terrible. Put him in the meat chipper, the wood chipper, right? I've never heard anybody sitting there like glorifying, except for like maybe like I don't know the Klan or somebody, which is not representative.
Well, I mean, if it's one of theirs, they memory hole it and they never talk about it. If it's a left-wing person, then of course they go crazy about it.
What do you mean? They talk about the Timothy McVeigh all the time and say how terrible he was.
This is decades ago, right?
Sure.
What was the one? Was it Abbott who pardoned the guy who killed the? Was it a BLM protester? I think like you had Trump pardoning all the J6ers. He thought that violence was epic. You had.
The January 6th one seems kind of controversial now with all the FBI stuff coming out. But I mean, like.
Well, nothing came out to be clear.
I mean, sure, that's fair. We can argue about that later. But I'm saying like specifically, whenever I'm looking and I talk about this ticky-tack word game BS, I just saw the other day that the Pulse Club, my club shooter is considered a right-wing violence, and I'm just like, this guy represents the right wing, like. I don't know about that one. I feel like there's been a dishonest framing, and I don't think that Trump coming out and saying everybody needs to calm down is actually going to do anything. I think that's dishonest as well. Like they actually believe that.
Well, then no one on the left saying anything shouldn't do anything either, right? If literally none of our speech matters at all, I don't understand how crazy it is that I don't understand how you can say that. You don't believe that. There's no way you believe what you just said. You don't think Donald Trump making a statement that everybody should calm down. You think that would have no impact on the environment whatsoever.
I mean, maybe some. I don't think that. I think that it's going to be like kind of turned against him. It's just like whenever he was like with the Proud Boys or whatever, he's like, calm down, stand by, whatever. some people interpret it as, oh, he's going to have his own private army. To most conservatives, it's like, he's like saying chill out. I feel like anything he does is just going to be framed as
but when he said that, everybody understood it as like, fuck shit
do you
up,
disagree that anything he says is going to be turned into like I don't know, some kind of meme? Like
no, I think it's very obvious. Like when you listen to Biden speak, it was obvious he wanted everybody to calm down. When Donald Trump said stand back and stand by.
Hold on, Biden said he wanted he wouldn't be upset if he got taken out one time. I mean, what do you mean? Like
no, he did not say that. No.
Yeah, absolutely.
No. Not only did he not say that, but you can look at all of his actions and providing additional Secret Service members and increasing security for even his political opponents or reaching out.
If they increase the security and put the C team on him and they get two people taking pot shots at him, I don't know if that's really increasing the security just because you throw more bodies, but you put like the B team out there.
I mean, he's doing what it's not like Biden himself is out there securing the events.
No, nobody wants that.
But I'm saying as opposed to Biden is providing for additional security and Trump is trying to rescind Secret Service protections, additional ones from every single person he can. He's done that. And I mean, the way that Donald Trump talks about, he went on stage after Erica and was like, well, unlike Charlie Kirk, I hate all my political opponents. It's kind of unhinged to say.
Is it though? I mean, like, I feel like there's a lot of hate. Like, just coming on here, I got
hate.
Yeah,
it comes from him.
You get hate from all the people all the time. We all get hate. Like, just
but there's a difference from the president saying it.
I mean, is there though? I mean, he's one.
Like,
that's part of what people like about him is that he.
Yeah, is that he's hateful.
No, it's that he's a regular person that you could talk to.
I don't want a regular person. I want somebody who's better than a regular person. The president of the United States.
You say that, but I feel like the part of being the president is that anybody could be president. That's really the myth. The myth of the United States is like, hey, little Timmy could grow up and become the president.
Anybody can be president. Isn't the same thing as saying everybody can be president. If you're in a dire situation, you're not looking around and it's like I got the 6'2" Jack guy. I've got the guy with all the military general experience, and I got the man. I want the ordinary dude to lead us through the zombie apocalypse. What do you mean?
So you're arguing for an elite oligarchy that runs the United States? That's crazy.
Well, hold on. No, if I was arguing for an elite oligarchy to run the United States, I would support Trump and Elon.
No,
that's not what I'm arguing for. I'm saying that the president of the United States should have
anybody. If it can't be anybody, then you want someone specific that you think is special or like higher than the rest.
Do you think a mentally retarded person should be president?
Wait, say that again.
Do you think a mentally retarded person should be president?
Probably not. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'm okay with excluding.
Should child rapists be president?
A what?
Child rapists be president?
No, I mean obviously not.
Foreign national, a Martian. So not everybody should be president, right?
I mean,
we want the best of the best,
okay,
right?
That's bad faith. I mean, that I'm talking about an average American citizen. I'm not sitting here talking about, Tiny Tim from that, the orphanage that's, been dropped on his head 30 times. I don't think anybody here thinks I'm saying that. Nobody's talking about Pedo Joe hanging out in the bathroom somewhere. Like, nobody's talking about that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the average person that can grow up and come from any social class and become the American president. Yeah, I think
the average person that can come from any social class and be president.
Yeah, I
your
think that's
example is
something people-
Donald Trump, the
No, I mean,
multimillionaire
it's not
real
that
estate
one, is
mogul
that
from New York
he's-
City.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That's actually a point that I think you're making right here. It's a good one, is that he's not in the political elite. He comes from the rich elite. And, it's just this big step that we've got with somebody coming from just the economic class instead of this elite political class. I think it's a baby step in the right direction.
The guy that was at all the Clintons' weddings and was making daily trips to Epstein's Island was not part of the elite political class.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Now we're sitting here equating the Epstein thing. I mean, listen, if the Epstein thing matters so much, the Dems would have nailed him with it when they had all the files. But they didn't do it because they knew he didn't have anything. And just like with Julian Maxwell said he didn't have it, none of the fucking victims have said that he's got these
If we're going to run with that logic, then if the Republicans had anything on Comey or Barack Obama related to the FBI hunt, then they would have released it in 2016 to 2020.
They tried, but the little Dem operatives that were already working, they've sitting here and stopped them at every turn. We've seen that even just now. He's not cleared out all these people that are
There's
working
still a
against him.
deep state. There's still how deep does the state go?
I don't know about how there's a deep state. Those are your words, not mine. But I'm thinking that
Those are not my words. Those are Trump's words. Those are the words of the Republican administration for the past 10 years.
We could call it a deep state, but you and I both know that there's always people at each side in trenches whenever they get in charge, and those people that are for holdovers from other administrations are working against it. If that's a deep state, so be it. But you can't deny that there are people that are in power right now that are working against his agenda when he pushed stuff forward. Yeah, I would argue that it's taken him a while to get rid of some of those people, get people in place so that we can do some research on this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he can indefinitely blame whatever the deepest of the deep state, the deepest of the Loch Ness swamp monster, whatever he wants to call it. But I mean, at the end of the day, going back to where we started here, just the idea that you would want the president to just be like an ordinary person that would succumb to his emotions, it betrays all of like U.S. history. Like nobody was like, oh, George Washington, he was like a normal soldier that just marched across the field and shot a dude and then went home. It was like he crossed the Delaware. He was an amazing man. He did crazy stuff. Like I feel like we generally want to advocate for our presidents to be like really exceptional men, not just ordinary people thrust into the limelight. We'll see how they respond, and it'll be like an epic episode of The Apprentice.
A lot of these people in history were regular people that got thrust in the limelight. You can look at Andrew Jackson. He was just a regular soldier that moved his way up the ranks.
They
you brought
rose
up
to the
George
occasion.
Washington. We could look at Ulysses S. Grant. We could look at tons of people. Abe Lincoln was just a random hick from the backwoods that got really good at public speaking. And he came up the ranks. Like there's plenty of examples in history of these. Davy Crockett.
But these people made something of themselves and then were elected president. I'm just all of this to go back even a step further. I would expect good conduct from the president of the United States.
I mean, hold on. Are you saying...
I can't believe this is controversial.
It's
because his behavior is indefensible.
We've had plenty of presidents that have said, that, we hate our enemies throughout...
No, we don't.
I mean, FDR was sitting here talking about the evils of Nazism and then communism.
Nazism?
Yeah.
What does it say about you if that's an offensive statement?
No, I'm not saying it's offensive. I'm not. Hold on. First of all, I'm saying that you said there's groups that they hate.
Yeah,
there's
the Nazis were an enemy of the United States of
and
America.
The communists. We have
a country that was.
We have presidents saying they hate the Russians back in the day. We have presidents saying they hate all these. I mean, if these are their enemies, why wouldn't they say they hate them? I feel like
there's a difference between the enemies being foreign nationalists versus your domestic citizens.
Wait, hold on. We have domestic people that believe in all these things. You don't believe we should hate these people that have these evil beliefs? So you're pro.
It's all the same to you.
Are you pro being friend with the Klan and be like, we should never have the president say he hates the Klan or he hates the Nazis?
After this election, I'm just saying that from the same people who said that Obama saying Trayvon Martin looks like me, to have that brain break like half the conservative movement for indefinite periods of time, to come out and say, actually, I don't care at all what the president says. It's all epic and based. That's just astounding to me.
All right. That's,
give him the last word. Give him the last word. Give him the last word. He can have the last word.
I was just going to say that's 5 minutes, guys. No, we'll give you the last. We'll give you the last word there, Mr. Gibbs.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, thanks for debating with me. It was fun. And
where can people come and debate you?
You can find me anywhere as Admiral Gibbs on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, all the good stuff. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Everyone show up and debate Mr. Gibbs. Give him a round of applause. Thanks. Thank you so much.